And it has taken me way too many tries to record this video news. This is maybe my 7th take. Hey Couch Surfers, Brandon here. Forgive me for a little bit of noise in the background. I have my fan on and I'm too lazy to go turn it off. This week we're supposed to be talking about our favorite games, and I have to admit that's a really hard one for me. Over on my main channel I've actually been working on a video where I talk about my favorite games, my top 20 favorite games as a matter of fact. And every single time I've tried recording that video, it's fallen flatter than a hockey puck. However, I guess I'm kind of on the spot now, and since I can't really change the topic to something it'll be a little easier for me to talk about, let's do this. Now, numbers 2 through 5 are going to be in no specific order, but my number 1 game of all time will forever be Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. This is a game I have almost nothing bad to say about. I say almost nothing because fuck the Water Temple. Other than that, that game is damn near flawless in my opinion. The music is spot on, the gameplay is fluid, it has a lot of memorable characters and some memorable locations. Not to mention, some of my best EDM remixes have been remixes of music from that game. Again, numbers 2 through 5 will be in no particular order, but number 2 is Pokemon Crystal. Anyone who knows me from my main channel knows I'm a huge Pokemon fan. And in my opinion, Pokemon Crystal got it right. It didn't just get it right, it got it perfect. As much as I love the new Pokemon games, it feels like it's got a little complex. In the old days, you never really saw a shit ton of strategy. You didn't have to go through and breed so you can get this Pokemon at that stat with this move. You didn't have to worry about the different abilities and all of that stuff. It was as simple as sit down, pick your move, and play. Pokemon Crystal took everything that made Red, Blue, and Yellow good, and then made it better. So while I'm not knocking the originals, and I'm definitely not knocking the newer games, Pokemon Crystal will always be my personal favorite. Number 3 would have to be WWF No Mercy, which obviously, in my opinion, is the best professional wrestling game ever made. I'm not sure how many of you know this about me, but I'm a colossal fan of professional wrestling. I have been for over 10 years. And as a result of that, I've played a lot of wrestling games, and none of them feel as good as WWF No Mercy. Now obviously, compared to today's standards, the game was kind of primitive, but that's okay, because the one thing that matters the most is the gameplay, and the gameplay in that game was flawless. As much as I enjoy the current control scheme of wrestling games, it felt more basic, yet at the same time much more complex in that game. WWF No Mercy was a game that anyone could play, but only a devoted student could master. And I just realized that my tripod has been kind of loopy this whole time. Let me go ahead and fix that. That looks even worse. Number 4, I'm gonna go ahead and give that to Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Now, I'm pretty sure in a couple months, if you ask me which I prefer, San Andreas or Grand Theft Auto 5, I'm probably going to pick Grand Theft Auto 5. However, I still need time to play through it. I still need time to 100% complete it. I need time to reflect on it and see if it's as good of a game as I think it is, or if it's just the hype. So for right now, I'm gonna go with San Andreas. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is a massive game, therefore meaning that there is a lot to do in that game. And that's something I've always liked. Even after you finish the game, it's still not over. You still have a lot of collectibles to go find, you still have side missions to go do, there's mini games to go play. It's a huge game that'll take a very long time to complete 100%. Not to mention, the game had a killer soundtrack and some incredible characters, as well as one of my favorite storylines to ever appear in any video game ever, so that's gotta stand for something, am I right? The final game in my list is a huge exception to one of my biggest gaming rules. And one of my biggest gaming rules, is no first-person shooters. Now, I understand that a lot of people enjoy FPS games, and to each their own, but I've never really liked them, because, to be perfectly honest, I'm not very good at them. However, the one exception to that rule is the Fallout series, and the game that I'm picking as my number 5 is Fallout 3. This is a game that absolutely blew my mind. I was very hesitant to play the game, because a lot of people were telling me to, but I didn't like first-person shooters. However, the VAT system helped me out with the first-person shooting aspect of it, and I was able to appreciate the rest of the game. Now, you have your usual suspects for what makes me like a game. The gameplay was solid, the soundtrack was great, the characters were memorable, but the thing that really made that game stand out for me was the visuals. Now, usually I'm not as concerned with the visuals as I am everything else. I don't play games for graphics, I play games for gameplay. However, when you incorporate the game's incredible graphics and its amazing visuals with everything else that makes the game so great, I can really sit back and appreciate the graphics a little bit more. Playing through this wasteland of Washington, D.C. is just mind-blowing. And I'm a guy who's actually been to Washington, D.C. before, so it was really cool knowing that I've been at the top of Washington Monument and seeing what it was like when I was there and what it's like in the game. It was awe-inspiring to see what the Lincoln Memorial looked like in that game when I've actually seen and touched the Lincoln Memorial. Anyways, those are my top 5 favorite video games. Comment question of the day, what is your favorite video game? I'm only going to make you pick one. That about does it for me though, so until next time, keep on surfing.